Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Halfway home on another week, and welcome back inside the Lock Shop, everybody. Dustin Nielson and Hustler with you. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Nielson TSN 1260. He's at Hustlerama. Find us on Twitter at Lock Shop Bets. And if you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, do it. We're going to give away $1,000 to one of our first 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We're closing in on 400 right now. So youtube.com/lockshopbets, I believe, is the handle over there as well. You can find it pinned on our Twitter account. Huss, what's up, buddy? Happy Wednesday, man.
Yeah, right back at you. Interesting night last night in the National Hockey League. An absolutely ridiculous game between the Jets and the Detroit
That was
Red
nuts.
Wings. Defense optional for last night. I mean, they got down 3-0 early and then threw everything at Ville Husso. Seemed like the Jets could have scored a dozen goals last night. Unfortunately, in a little homecoming game for Connor Hellebuck, he was not at his best, and the Jets didn't help him out very much, and they took the L. And our guy Bones isn't going to the All-Star game now because Dallas won. Florida, Paul Maurice, man, we were watching that late game, Colorado down 4-1. They storm back to tie it, and then Florida gets a win. That could be a big win for the Panthers. I mean, they got to get on a bit of a run and string some together, and they've got these two really tough games. Colorado yesterday, Vegas tomorrow, and then their schedule lightens up a little bit, so maybe that is the start of some better things for the Panthers. Certainly, everyone's been expecting that for a while. But yeah, a little slower night tonight, both in the National Hockey League, and I know we'll get to the NFL picks in a bit. But it's the real start of golf season. Although the Century last year, that Tournament of Champions is usually a much smaller field. Now with all the changes to the PGA Tour. It was an amazing field, an incredible ending with John Rahm having that ridiculous comeback, 80-1 at one point during the final round. And he came back and won over Colin Morikawa, who somehow blew it. But this Sony Open, not quite as deep a field right now. And I know we'll kind of get into that. But early January, we're finishing up the regular season of football, transitioning into golf. I always love this. I love this time of year, just because golf is here and maybe we're a little bit closer to actually getting out of winter.
Yes, exactly. You want to get out of winter for sure. And we do have picks. We each got three guys. Three plays for the Sony Open. We're going to get to that a little bit later on in this episode. We got a couple of things. I've got an NHL pick for tonight. Huss said he's got an NBA pick that we'll get to. But let's start with the NFL, Huss. Obviously, we're going to have a huge playoff episode on Friday, so make sure you're ready for that on Friday. We're going to spend tomorrow prepping and getting ready for that because we're going to be picking every game, and hopefully we can continue with the momentum we had from the regular season. But as far as the NFL lines go right now, the one thing that kind of jumped off the page to me was that the Cowboys opened, and this is the Monday night game, but the Cowboys opened as 3-point favorites, and that number's moving in a direction that I really like because I'm going to be on the Kings this weekend, spoiler alert, and it's now at 2.5, which means there's some money coming in on the Tampa Bay Bucks at home here, Huss. I just keep it going. Let's keep moving that line. Let that line keep creeping down until Friday so we can get the best possible number. A part of me thinks, I'm a little surprised by it, but it's Bucks, it's Brady at home against the Dallas Cowboys, who always just go full Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm a fan of where that line's moving.
Listen, it's not January if I'm not betting against Tom Brady in the playoffs. And needless to say, lifelong, that hasn't worked out well more often than not. But I was with you too. I saw this yesterday at 3, was hoping it would get down to 2.5, and it is there right now. I mean, if you're someone like Dusty who's already locked in on the Cowboys, probably me too, you might want to jump on this. I don't think we're going to get it much better than 2.5 right now. And yeah, there could be some steam. Although there could, as we get closer to the weekend and closer to that game, listen, the public loves Brady. And I have a feeling that a lot of the things that, were issues for the Buccaneers might not be considered going into this playoff game. Not to mention the Cowboys didn't really instill a lot of confidence in anyone with the way they played last week against the Commanders to finish it up. But that is interesting now. -2.5 at -111 right now for Dallas. There's been a couple of other more significant moves, though. I know we had said there was a double digit for the Niners. That's now to 9.5. Not a huge move. The Chargers were 1-point favorites yesterday. It's now 1.5, and maybe more importantly, the money line. Yesterday, it was minus 118 for the Chargers. They're now at minus 125. And if you do like the Jags, Jags yesterday were even money on the money line. It's now plus 107 and minus 105 at plus 1.5. But the one line, Dusty, I'm just noticing this now, that has moved a lot is this Bills-Dolphins game. That was 9.5 yesterday. It's now 12.5. So I think we can officially rule out Tua.
Yeah, well, Tua is ruled out officially, but I felt like that line should have been with Tua not playing anyway in the first place, right?
Well, exactly. So I'm not sure whether we've missed something or something late has just moved this, but I mean, as I said, it's gone from 9.5 to 12.5. So maybe it's Skylar Thompson time again against the Bills, which is just so too bad. And I mean, first and foremost, when you think about what happened to Damar Hamlin, you got to think of Tua's health. I do wonder what's next for him. But they can't play him after what's happened so far this year. But that really does stink, because if you remember, that Bills-Miami game a few weekends ago on that Saturday night was a hell of a game, and I thought the Dolphins really acquitted themselves well out in the snow and the cold in Buffalo. That being said, I think this one is going to be a romp, and I think that's part of the reason why it got the early slate in the Sunday games. Vikings still 3.
Yeah. So once again, jam-packed episode on Friday. We'll be picking every single playoff game. Some that we like, maybe you hop on now. Some you want to be patient on. Do you think, what's the number that stops the money coming in on the Bills? What would you say that number is? Because obviously 9.5 didn't do it. Now the switch is sitting at 12.5. I feel like you can almost take that up to 13.5. People still bet it.
We got to be getting close to that now. I mean, that is such a big number.
Playoff game number? Like, come on.
That being said, the Bills are going to keep the foot on the gas. These teams know each other very well, and the Dolphins are going in with
Josh Allen always plays very well against Miami too.
So. I can't imagine this number gets to 14. I mean, it could get to 13. But again, this has been such a big move over the course of the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
There are always things that can move. Hey, you told me that all of a sudden Tyreek Hill and obviously Waddle got hurt last week. So I think he's probably a question mark, and that might be playing into this line as well. By the way, Bengals and Ravens off the board right now. It was 7.5. But I think they're looking for clarity. That's another part of the reason why we don't really want to pick these games until Friday, to get a little bit better of an idea about some of the key players who may or may not. Although I've been thinking for the last month that we might have seen the last of Lamar Jackson in a Ravens uniform. And if he doesn't play in this game, and there was a lot of rumors about how committed he was to his rehab over the last month. We all know the contract situation. It could be that could be a big story. It could be Tyler Huntley time going up against Joe Burrow. Good luck with that.
All right. Before we get to the Sony Open, Huss, the one thing I'm gonna Oilers are playing tonight, coming off that loss to the Kings. They get the Ducks tonight. And there will be a play from this game that'll be the Lock Shop play of the day a little bit later on. So make sure you watch all of Cool Bet's socials for the Lock Shop play of the day. Yesterday in Lock Shop, both my hockey plays came in, but the Lock Shop play of the day, which was Carolina to snap a 3-game slide, did not come through. They've now lost 4 in a row, including that game at home yesterday. So I am going to go. It's a light night in the NHL. And I know the Oilers are a tough team to bet on right now because they've been so inconsistent. But they're coming off a loss. This is a very important road trip for them. They lost to the Ducks at home here in Edmonton back in December, and the Ducks are awful. So I do think that, and the Oilers, as hard as they are to get a read on, the Oilers will go like this for a while, and then they have that game where like 5 points for McDavid, 3 points for Draisaitl. Oilers score 7 goals. Everything's fine in the world. And then, it's a rocky road for a couple weeks after that. This could be that game. And the last time they played, shots were 43-17 for the Oilers. And they lost that game 4-3 because Darnell Nurse had some horrible turnovers. So I think Edmonton gets it done tonight. I think the play here for the value is Edmonton -1.5 at -107. So that'll be my one play tonight in the National Hockey League. Oilers -1.5 on the puck line at -107. A bounce back needed from last game. A bounce back needed from last game against the Ducks. And overall, a very important game for them on this critical 4-game midseason road trip. So I'm going to back that. I might get burned again, but I'm going to back the Oilers tonight to win by 2 or more.
Yeah, the Oilers burned me earlier this week when I thought they'd get right against the Kings after that bad loss, but not so fast. If you really want to get an aggressive, you can lay the 2.5 puck line to win by 3 and get +170. And the over in this game is over 6.5 at -122, which is interesting because, of course, isn't Stewie Skins having a kid, and we got back-to-back
Jack Campbell's in net
operations over these next couple games. Huge games for Campbell, man. He's got to win these games.
Big time game for him. If he drops even one of these two, people are. I mean, especially if he plays really poorly, there's not going to be much leash left for Jack Campbell here in year 1 of a 5-year deal. Huss, you on the ice or the hardcore tonight? What are you doing?
I'm actually on the hardcore. I looked at these hockey games. I mean, I don't mind Washington, but -177 on a road favorite. So I'm actually going to some hoops tonight. And I'll be honest, I don't even know how I came to get on this pick. But I'm going with the under in the Milwaukee-Atlanta game.
Okay.
And okay.
So weird.
Listen,
so random.
it is so random, but I'll tell you what, I think I got a little lucky because I made this bet earlier this morning. The Bucks have been dealing with a number of their top guys out, although they burned me last week going up against the Raptors, where it was basically Giannis and a bunch of guys. The Raptors did have an incredible comeback to put the thing to overtime, still ended up losing the game. And I got it in at under 236.5. And often when you're making those plays, CoolBet will give you a 10% bonus.
Okay.
So basically ended up being an even money bet on the under. And in the last hour, Trae Young has been ruled out for the game tonight due to illness. And the line has dropped 3 points. So it's now 233.5 right now. And, I'm actually looking here right now. This game is actually off the board right now. So when it comes back on, it might be a very different number, but I'm locked in at 236.5 on the under tonight. And I'm seeing right now, it just continues to move. It literally moved right in front of my face, now down to 232. And the Bucks are 4.5 point favorites in Atlanta. And obviously this is all because the Hawks star player Trae Young is not in the lineup tonight. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to give that one out now considering what's happened, but I feel quite fortunate that my random pick of the day was on the right side of things, and now we're seeing that line crumble right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Trae, knowing now that Trae Young is out, this probably finishes in at around 233.5. Right now, the under on 232.5 is +105, so I think that'll tick up a little bit, but I'm not sure that this is going to be the game of tons of offense right now. Milwaukee plays great defense. No Trae Young. I think feeling pretty good about that under tonight. So a rare quiet night for me with, sprinkling all over the board. Maybe I'll jump on that hockey pick with you. But as I said, I don't trust the Oilers at all right now. And I think I might need to see something from them before they get any Canadian currency backing them from yours truly.
I also just locked in this quick little parlay as I was sitting here. Oilers regulation -167 and William Nylander over 0.5 points at -216. That pays +134. No Austin Matthews tonight. So maybe a chance there for more opportunity for Nylander. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, Huss. So there's some sprinkles on the ice, the hard court, some thoughts on the NFL, but this is a golf episode. Sony Open. You were the guy that first kind of got me into betting golf. I now very much like it's more like a NFL weekend. Right, like you have the week to sort of prepare for it and dive into it a little bit, as opposed to NBA and baseball and hockey coming at you every single day. And I think that's the element of it that I really like. So I'm really looking forward to. We had a nice run last year, didn't we? Didn't we have like?
I mean, we had like at one point I think we hit winners.
It's
in
like
3 or
5
4
of 6 or
weeks in a
something
row,
between us. Yeah.
So there was a few nice ones. Obviously, we had a couple big ones in and around the majors. Cam Smith at the British Open was a beauty, and then I had the back-to-back Pheno wins later on in the season, which sort of completely made the year. Tony had a nice week last week. He's not in the field this week at the Sony Open. But I think we did get a chance to see quite a bit of where some of these players are when it comes to last week's Century Tournament of Champions for the guys that are playing this week. And listen, just as far as the odds go, we should maybe just fill people in on what the leaderboard looks like right now. Sony Open in Hawaii. Let me just pull this up right now. But our guy Tom Kim is the favorite right now and was wild. He was 12-1 when it opened. He was plus 1150 yesterday and earlier when you got it. Tom Kim's now at 11-1. He's such a phenomenal player. I think he finished 6th at the Century. And man, he's a fun guy to cheer for too. So I think the public's going to be on Tom Kim, and for good reason. He's amazing. He's wins, and he's a guy that gets a lot of public support right now. I just decided maybe I'd go away from Tom Kim, but I did put him in the top 10. And that number
I do like that. Plus 135. I really like that.
Plus 135. I made a bigger wager on that to kind of cover the week. That's actually dropped now to plus 125 right now. So again, often with golf, getting on it early really helps. I mean, if there's particular guys that you like, because more often than not, the lines aren't going up. They'll go down though if a lot of people jump on it. So getting it on it early is a little bit. So I kind of made one conservative play, Tom Kim top 10 at plus 135. And then I'm going to run with a couple guys that have certainly been on the card before. Sungjae Im. And Sungjae last week was in contention. He had that 66 opening round, wasn't great in round 2 with the 672, and then he came right back with the 65. And it just seems like on a couple of these days, a few putts, one bad shot. And again, when you're talking about a field that has the likes of Rahm and Morikawa and all these guys in, there's a very slim margin between winning a tournament and, fishing towards the back of the top 10. That being said, from what I saw, I really like Sungjae's game. And I think this Sony Open, that iron play from middle to long distances is key. And he's one of the best in the game for it. So the way his game's rounding up right now, I really like the number at 14-1. And I think a lot of other people are on Sungjae as well. That could potentially go down. But Sungjae's getting a sprinkle at 14-1. And then the other guy that I was really impressed with, and it's always fun to back, is our own Canadian, Corey Connors. Corey went 68-68, had a rough 72 in round 3, and came right back with the 67 in the final round to finish at 17 under and tied for 18th. And this, again, is the sort of a course that if he can just get a little hot with a putter, he can absolutely contend. And, considering some of the other guys in that mix, Spieth's at 16-1. He's the highest ranked player in the field. Harman and Hideki Matsuyama at 20-1. Russell Henley at 22. I like the value of Corey Connors at 25-1. And I think this is it's not as stacked a field. So this is a perfect spot for a guy like Corey to make a run on Sunday afternoon. So my 2 outright, Sungjae Im at 14-1, Corey Connors at 25, and then got a little bigger piece on our guy, Tom Kim, to hit the top 10. And I see Tom Kim at the top of your list as well.
Yeah, I just like Tom Kim sort of burst onto the scene last year, but is this the year of Tom Kim, Huss? Like, is this his year to really kind of not take over, but elevate into that elite group? I think it might be. I mean, last week, I think what would you say? He finished, was he 6th or was he 5th? Whatever. He had pretty good effort last week. Now, this would be going against the grain a little bit here because not many guys who haven't been here before have come here and won in their first time, which is what he would be looking to do. But I also don't want to doubt the guy. Like, I feel like Tom Kim has the ability to buck that trend, I guess you can say. So
He did it last year. I mean, he did it
Yeah.
last year. He was seeing a bunch of those court tournaments for the first time. And then what did he get into the winner's circle a couple times? I know I was on him on one, and I think it was about 30-1. I'm just saying, unless we're talking majors where everyone is there, we're not seeing those sort of numbers on Tom Kim, anymore. And it just speaks to how good he is right now that he is the favorite in this tournament. As I said, it's dropped a little bit to 11-1 now from plus 1150 earlier.
When he led the field in strokes gained tee to green last week. So, I mean, he's obviously hitting it, striking it very well right now. The other two guys that I'm going to go to, one of the guys has won here before in Russell Henley. In fact, he won here 10 years ago. I'm not sure if that was his first title, but it was one of his first titles. Last year, he lost in a playoff to Hideki. So he's played this extremely well. He's won it. He's finished top 20 4 other times. And last year he finished second. He went 62, 63, 67, 65. And the year before that, 4 rounds in the 60s as well. So this is a course and this is an event that Henley has played very well. And the same can be said for Keith Mitchell. He has not won it, but he's only played it 5 times. And in those 5 events, he finished 25th, 16th, missed the cut, and then 14th and 7th last year, and he finished strong last year. His 3rd and 4th rounds last year, 65 and a 63 on Sunday. So he has not had that elite success at this course, but he has played this course very well, and you're getting him at 40-1. And Adam on the YouTube stream right now says, top 10, Killer Keith, book it. So he's in for Keith Mitchell in the top 10. And what would that, where's Mitchell here? Top 10 for Mitchell. Plus 325
for Killer Keith. And 7-1 for top 5 as well. I actually really like that pick. Keith is a guy that can get really, really hot. You mentioned with that 65-63 finishing out from 2 rounds. He's not as consistent as some of the guys we've already mentioned. Yeah. But again, you're looking for him to get hot for 4 days and see what happens. And again, we've had some real, like last year, it seemed like all of the winners were in that first kind of mid-tier in between the teens to about 25, 27. A wide open field like this, I think, plays into the 40s and the 50s. Albeit, I mean, we're sort of on some guys higher up on the board. But if you do like taking some more long shots, this is the sort of tournament that I think you can get some pretty good action on some guys on longer odds. And Killer Keith Mitchell would certainly be in that category.
All right, so there you go. There's our first card of the year on the links, the Sony Open. And I've got Tom Kim plus 1150, Henley at 22-1, Mitchell at 40-1, and then Huss is on his boys, Sanjay at 14-1, Corey Connors at 25-1. And probably the best bet that you can get on this week. I love that. Tom Kim, top 10. You got it at plus 135. I just locked it in while you were laying out your picks at plus 125. What's he in the top 5? What's Tom Kim top 5? What's that number at?
Tom Kim top 5 is plus 240 right now.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Which is good. I mean, as I say, this is just sort of backing, if Tom Kim finishes top 10, I'll make money this weekend. And heck, if Sanjay or Corey can swing for the fences and get in, be an even better way to start the season. By the way, if you do go to CoolBet, sometimes they don't, in the past, they didn't always have these, but they've got Group A winners. So, I mean, if you do want to get some fun exotics, the Group A is Kim, Sanjay, Spieth, Harman, Matsuyama. Kim's plus 270 to beat those other guys. Sanjay Im's plus 285. The Corey Connors group's interesting. You've got Russell Henley, Corey Connors. And again, this is basically just looking at the guys in that next tier of the odds. Tom Hoagie, Billy Horschel, and Cam Davis. Henley plus 260 on that one, and Corey Connors plus 315. And then, of course, we've got the make the cut. Pay attention to the CoolBet exclusives later on today. I wouldn't be surprised if our buddy Pat Gregoire has a make the cut parlay. Oh, and here's his Sony Open special right now.
Okay. Tom
Kim and Keegan Bradley both to finish top 20, and it's plus 350. So this is basically a bet on Keegan Bradley. Let's see where his numbers are for the event. I didn't notice Keegan Bradley. Oh, Keegan Bradley's 35-1. So basically both of those guys top 20. I might have to jump on that one as well. So there you go. In the exclusives, I'll lean on him for a make the cut parlay as well. Normally we'll probably have that up by Wednesdays if he is dropping one, so we can kind of talk about it and decide if we want to get on one or maybe throw one over there ourselves.
That's right. We could definitely do that as well. We should actually start putting together a little lock shop golf partner parlay. It's not a bad idea. Yeah. Yeah, they would love
People
that.
have been making money in the exclusive section. Certainly they did last weekend for football. So always some great value, at least just considering what the odds would be and the fact that they're on the exclusives. It's always a better number. So definitely worthwhile checking out.
All right, so our next episode of The Lock Shop will be coming your way on Friday, and that'll be a full-blown NFL playoff preview episode. One of the boys from Cool Bet will pop by, and we will pick every game for you for the upcoming weekend, rolling in off of 60% and 57% years in the regular season. Huss, you dive in. You be ready, because we're going to knock this playoff weekend out of the park as well, buddy.
I'm ready to pull the trigger, but as I said, I want to see a little bit more information from practice over the next couple weeks. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've been making the picks on Friday all year long. Why the hell would we change going into the postseason? So Dusty, I will see you Friday as we get ready to fire it up for NFL playoffs.